All right, we are live, and I'm going to hang on for 5 to 10 seconds while StreamYard and YouTube learn to talk to each other. Um, there we go. All right, so I think we're live. Welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. And welcome to Deconversion Hangout. This stream is somewhat strictly monitored. We don't allow preaching and things like that. I also have set it up so that you have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 20 minutes before you're allowed to talk and chat. That will hopefully get rid of our drive-by theists that like to be annoying. I wish they would come to Rapid Fire. I'd gladly talk to them then, but that doesn't seem to phase them that much. So, but yeah. So there's that. But yeah, let's get a quick roll call. See who's here. I do believe Cranky was here first, way ahead of time, just to beat Fred. So there's that, and then Fred showed up later. There's some argument as to whether you can disappear or reappear, but as Cranky pointed out, he's an elder god, so he can do what he wants, really. So fair enough. Let's see. I got Triple E. Ronald is here from Indian Lake. Let's see. I thought I saw somebody else. Yes, Lisa is here as well. So yes, and all the cast of characters. But welcome to Deconversion Hangout. I was asked what the theme is, and I kind of like to on Deconversion Hangout. I really do like to itch, where it scratches, where people, wherever it itches, let's scratch there. And I also like to lead with something I'm learning. And I had my therapy session yesterday, so it's very much for me. Maybe every other week or so, it's kind of a reflection back on that, and mostly I'm just trying to come to terms with who I am most of the time. People ask me why I'm still in therapy, and my therapist and I have both agreed that it's mostly because I'm still, after such a long time in the faith, I still have, residual effects of that. And being a pastor, I have a lot of guilt associated with some of the advice I gave. And so there's that. But yeah, I try to deal with that on that level. Hey, Martin, good to see you. Cast of characters. Where's your script? We're improv here, Fred. It's improv. I hope you're okay with that. But yeah, a couple of the interesting points that were made in chat before we went live. How well it was Cranky Elder God who made the point that the standard for gods have lowered. That's why we're going to create our own. Fangs is going to graduate to demigod status at some point. There are religious vegetables out there that need to be removed, have the religious poison removed from them, and Fangs is up to the task. So that's what we're going to do. And then another one, anyone notice that theists are more antagonistic towards atheists than believers of other faiths? And I've noticed this since running this channel. Like, I get treated more rudely than, like, if a Christian comes on an Islamic channel, they'll probably at least we both acknowledge there's a God, and so we can be friendly on those terms. But yes, I've been running this channel for over 5 years, and the one thing I've noticed is that theists don't seem to have any qualms about insulting atheists, whereas they're very cautious about people of other faiths. Okay, it's like, I don't know if they see it differently. So it's like, I've had that problem for years running this channel. It's like, why are you so hostile? I don't believe in all the other gods except the one you believe in. So I don't know, we're equal on that point, but I've never understood it. So Yeah, it may be a rejection of all superstition, and that's one of the parts of deconverting is realizing how superstitious you are at times. Like I, it's amazing. Durante Lamar does this thing with superstition all the time, and he did a really good video about why he doesn't debate a couple of days ago, and a lot of the reasons why he doesn't debate are the same ones I don't, because I don't want to give credence sometimes to the superstitions that people have. And I think it's because of that lack of understanding of superstition that people, part of the deconversion process is shedding the superstitions, like getting rid of them, like, you know, um, and you don't always realize what superstitions you necessarily possess until you analyze what you're doing. Am I basing that on good information or am I basing it on superstition is a good question. Um, yes, Triple E. I think one of the great freedoms of deconversion, I'd like to talk about the good aspects of it, is I don't have a holy book to justify anymore. I don't have a God to justify anymore. It seems weird that human beings if God's actually existed, would we need to justify them? I think it would, why do we have to justify their actions? So I've had that conversation several times with people over the years. Is like, oh, I don't have to justify the God of the Bible anymore and his genocides and his support of slavery and all that stuff. As a deconverted person, you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, you don't have to really go into how do you defend that? How do you don't have to do that anymore, and it's a very liberating feeling. So. Got me on that and move on. Yeah, I suppose that's true. I'm telling my atheist girlfriend now. Um, I think it's because the human morality today is much better than our Iron Age compadres of the past. I think morality. I'm glad morality is subjective and can be changed as we get new information. I think having one of the deconversion advantages of being somebody who is deconverted and who doesn't accept divine command theory at all is like if new information comes forward and we say, oh, that hurts this group of people, is it morally right for us to do that? I can say, well, no, let's shift the morality. Let's figure out a better way to do it. I'm not sure that you can do that if you're still a theist. Okay, you still have to follow this Iron Age stuff. And when you tell an atheist, like, oh, God killed the firstborn of Egypt and it was okay, it's like, how is that okay? Especially if they're babies. How is that okay? So, so let's see. Good and evil couldn't. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna postulate a God, yeah, an omnipotent God can certainly create a world with free will and no possibility of evil action. There'd be other ways to test free will. So, I just to be clear, Fred, I am the rabid atheist. It's Fangs who's the rabid atheist. Okay, he's the RABBIT atheist. I am the rabid atheist, and we work together. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I've found my new deity. I'd rather worship a bunny with fangs than anything else, I guess. So, but yes, I want to be clear about that. I created a rabid atheist, so when closed captioning mistranslates it, it's still referring to something on the channel. So there's that. Yeah, free will, once you divorce yourself from divine command theory, is a hard one for those deconverting. This is one of their issues. Is like, is everything pre-programmed? It's like it doesn't really work that way. I'm a soft determinist. Like there's a lot of things I can't control, and there's a lot of things that I are beyond my control. And so, the earth is going to go around the sun, for instance, and there's nothing I can really do about it. And so bothering with it is and worrying about it doesn't really do anything. So I kind of focus on the things that I can control, which are usually related to me. So yes, I'm fairly certain there are many places that we don't want to know where your tentacles are, but that would be a hell of a lot of fun, I guess. So I don't know. Not in the sense of Christianity. Christianity needs free will as a defense for God. Like his omniscience. Like if he knows everything that's going to happen, what's the point, kind of thing. Like an omnipotent, omniscient God wouldn't have to run the simulation to know the results. Okay, and so Christian theology injects free will as a way to, well, we have genuine choices about these things. God isn't like preordaining everything. And then the Calvinist rises his head and says, well, yes, he is. And, they'll do this whole compatibilism and all this other crap to make the waters even more muddy. And so I don't know that I, as an atheist, need free will. I think I can argue that we might have genuine choices about things, but I don't think as a deconverted person I need even the idea. It's the theist that has to run to free will. Okay, so I struggle a lot emotionally, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get it over. It is. People ask me one of my motivations for this channel and this stream in particular, and it's constantly trying to help people in a different direction. It helps me. Like this stream helps me probably more than it helps anybody who comes here. It allows me to kind of talk about where I'm at as well as talk to all of you. So it's good. And it's a good idea for your mental health. All right, there you go. Good to see you, Wolf. And then there's Anne is here. Anne Marie, welcome. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yes, we pick up a lot of BS superstitions in our lifetimes. Okay, it's a normal thing. Like our parents will teach us something, they'll do us something a certain way, and nobody ever explains why. And then you get right down to it. There's some sort of superstitious belief behind it, and it's like, well, then why are we doing that? Yeah. So yes, he is kind of a psycho. Um, I mean, you could ask Cranky about him. I'm sure they were around at the same time. Yeah, see, this is what bothers me. It's like it's not like I went over and believed a God you don't believe in. I just don't believe in yours too. And it's it's a hard thing for theists to accept that there isn't some sort of brain with some sort of nonsense in it. Now they wouldn't call it nonsense, but they feel like you're not open-minded enough unless you believe in something, and it's like that doesn't necessarily indicate an open mind. It might indicate somebody very gullible, if you got to believe in something all the time. So there's that aspect of it. But yes, I feel for you. Most of my family is still theist. Those that know I'm an atheist don't really understand why still, though some do. So it's that aspect of it. So I get what you're saying, but it's like they don't. I've decided not to make it an issue unless they make it an issue, and it usually works out pretty well. So far. Hey, Rimmer. Oh, always lawyers involved. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Oh, I'll mention it to her. But we have, I have already created some of the mythology behind Fangs. Like Fangs' purpose in life is to suck the religion out of vegetables. Okay, he's using his vampiric powers to do that because some vegetables in the world, as good as vegetables can be, and fruits for that matter, have been corrupted by religion. And Fangs exists to remove that from them. He feasts on that. So that's his main purpose, is to remove the religion from vegetables. Unfortunately, sometimes that's fatal for the vegetables. So it's an unfortunate side effect of doing his job. So I've already got the mythology cooking. I don't know. We tend to be more, the whole leaf beeb upon her moorhen is a great line, but Fangs doesn't really have a catchphrase like that. So we're going to work on it. So, but yes, we'll have to see. The mythology behind Fangs is being formed in my head. So, as a former theologian, I think I'm more than qualified to define the theology of a god at some point. So, we'll see. I'll make it up, just like theologians do. Let's see. One of the things that made me lean toward this construction is the fact that God, knowing everything would ever happen, he decided to create reality where trillions of people would burn in hell, and that's the issue. See, an omniscient, omnipotent God doesn't need to run the simulation, is the way I put it. He already knows what the outcome is going to be, and so there's no need to even have a creation. Okay, and it's one of the arguments against the omni God is, what need does omni God need to have to create? A self, a being that is completely secure in itself doesn't need to run a simulation. What the big question of why comes up. And so what you have to do in Christian theology is, like, in some way diminish the omnis in order to make the omni God make sense. Okay, and then he's not an omni God anymore, though. So the omni God fail. I mean, when I did my arguments against God series, most of them are against the omni God, and I said that that's kind of a weakness to the arguments against God's existence, is that it seems very focused on the omni God, but the omni God does get beat up quite badly by most of the arguments, and so you have to, like, diminish him. But if God knew all the suffering and death was going to happen, and a lot of it's going to be senseless slaughter, and some of it going to be he does it himself, why bother? Okay, why bother? And the fact that I, as a human being, can figure that out, um, that kind of diminishes the idea of his existence in the first place. So yes, but the omni God and its arguments against him are a big reason for deconstruction and deconversion. Is like, this God doesn't make any sense. So I call it a God simulator. Okay, there you go. I don't know, maybe he needs a better education system. I mean, he left a book, supposedly. He left a book, Fred. Have you read the book? There's an instruction manual. So, that's probably true. Hey, Earl. Good to see you. You've already had comments about your wonderful artwork already, so, and a suggestion, like, how do we fit the mythology of Fangs into Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe? Because I think there's a connection there, or I can make one up. I just got to figure out how to do it. So, oh, you people in chat, you're some of my best people, I swear. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying a mashup might be interesting. But yeah, it's like, I've already come to the conclusion that Fangs' mission in life is to remove the religion from vegetables, whether that means sucking it out of them with his fangs, or some vegetables become too corrupted, so he has to eat them. And then I don't know. I think I've got his purpose and what he does and how he does it. So, yeah, it's not a very good instruction manual, is it? It's like it's got bad instructions. It's got instructions that no longer are valid. It's based on a faulty idea of how the universe is and works. So yeah, it's kind of like getting an instruction manual, for something 600 years ago that nobody uses. so, so yes, a chartreuse tortoise. Well, there's an interesting concept. But yes, yeah. So I'm not sure, but we're going to kind of come up with maybe a better instruction manual than the Bible for fangs. So, well, you see, Lisa, fangs has evolved so that it doesn't taste bad to him. That's why he's perfectly suited for this role. Like he enjoys doing his work. It's tasty to him because it's destroying religion, so it tastes good to him. Fangs Fangs is an evolved rabbit, so he's the next step in rabbit evolution. So, oh, I'm going to have so much fun with this. As a former theologian and probably still an atheist theologian, I just have too much fun with theology anymore because you begin to realize how made up it is. It's one of the deconversion issues that strikes me now for me is like how made up doctrine is, like how made up doctrinal statements are, how made up, the whole mythologies are. It's just, uh, yeah. I mean, we could end with nom nom. Yeah, nom nom. That would take the place of more hen, like nom nom. So, yeah, we can do that. Just got to figure out something like replaces leaf be upon them. Um, but yes, I think Fangs has a good mythology of his own, and we're not afraid for Fangs to have a consort goddess, by the way, either. So we're not like Yahweh. We're gonna, he's a rabbit for criminally sake. The whole purpose of rabbits seems to be create other rabbits. So. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Don't blame me. My brain says things and I type them. Not my fault. Determinism. This is Fred. Okay, Fred. Whatever you need to sleep at night, you go right ahead. So there's just fangs nibbled for our sins. There we go. Oh man, bringing in the concept of sin. It's difficult, but I can do it. What is sin to fangs? To allow your vegetables to be corrupted in your garden by religion. That's a sin. Gosh, yes, I do believe because rabbits are like everywhere. Like you want to talk about a species that's everywhere on the planet in some way, shape, or form. I think rabbits are everywhere, as I recall. Um, there's some form of bunny on every continent, as I recall. I don't know. You Australians can correct me if I'm wrong. Did the rabbits manage to swim across the water? Like they say, after Noah's Ark, did they manage to make it too? so, so there's that. I don't know. Where not eating your vegetable equals bunny hell. What is bunny hell? See, this is going great places. I love this so much. But yes, true, and so there's that. Vegetables do indeed thrive on bullshit. So the Brits brought rabbits to Australia. Okay, Bunny purgatory. Are we going to be as cruel as Yahweh and just throw people into hell? Or are we going to have a purgatory level? Martin brings up a good point. Is there a bunny purgatory? So, so there's that. Bunny hell is a boiling pot of water. That's probably true too. Oh my goodness. So we're not going to do flames. We're just, the flames are secondary. It's the boiling water that's the actual hell. Okay. I think that's worse. I'm going to be honest, Earl. I think that's actually worse. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. Unbaptized bunnies go to bunny limbo. I don't know. I mean, see, rabbits have babies so quickly and they grow up so quickly. I don't know if that's necessary. We might say that every rabbit that's born automatically has like all it needs to know from the moment of birth to make a decision. So all souls go to the carrot patch. See, we already have our first theological schism between Fred and Earl. Those of you that want a bunny hell of boiling water, and Fred who's saying, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. Okay. Everybody goes to heaven. Okay. All, it's the whole point is removing corruption so it doesn't have an effect here on earth in the here and now. So, okay. So there's a level of a bunny hell we can go to, like a hot bath with carrots, onions, and celery. Okay. Glenn Close is the bunny Satan. Okay. Fair enough. Yes, rabbits are unclean according to the Bible, just so you're aware. That's another good reason for us to use them, by the way. So, okay, Jova Shade. Thanks, Jova. Fangs could be a perfect character to pair and dismantle the illogic and fallacious weeds that have plagued the fertile minds of those indoctrinated by theism. Yes, we are. I mean, if the skeptic can have Lisa the rainbow or giraffe, I can have Fangs Bunny as as that. So I definitely, we came up with this idea, I think last stream or a couple streams ago. And it's like, it's been running. The theology of fangs, though, I can already see many schisms about fangs. And so it's a perfect illustration of how a revelatory God turns into multiple nonsense, depending on people's interpretations. So Fred can't help it if he's naturally nice. When? So, see, rabbits do eat their own pellets, but on the other hand, birds eat out of the droppings of other creatures and are somehow not unclean. Fair enough. Yeah, the whole clean, unclean thing has always bothered me um, with the Bible. So, but yes, the reasons for it, I think, are more theological and more like political. Like, I always think that the reasons why, like, shellfish and a lot of the fish are banned from the Jewish diet is because they weren't very good seagoing people. Like every time Israel made a navy, it ended up at the bottom of the sea. So it's like, I think that has more to do with the politics of that. So, Fangs isn't really moral. Okay. He's not about your personal morality. He just doesn't want you to eat corrupted vegetables. So, corrupted by religion. So, started it all. And so the pantheon of silliness grows. Yes, we have a new member of the pantheon, Fangs Bunny. Nom nom. So, what the hell for you? See this? See, I already see this. Uh, does Fangs love Playboy? Martin asks. He's married to a Playboy playmate, so yeah, probably. No, I mean, where do you think they got the idea from? They got it from Fangs. Like, I mean, we could do Fangs in a tuxedo jacket. I think we could do that. So, so see, Earl's already going with a lot of this. It's pretty wise not to eat shellfish in a Middle Eastern climate without access to refrigeration. I probably. It's just it. If you look at Israel, they don't have a good port. Okay, they have to use like Tyre and Sidon in Lebanon to have a good port back in those days. The one thing that Israel always had trouble with the Med is they just did not have a good harbor, and I think that's so. So there's that. But yeah, I, I do think that sometimes when you read these prohibitions, it's like because they didn't really have access to them. But I mean, back in the day, if I was going to catch shellfish, I'd eat it the same day. So it's like, yeah, Earl's like that. Oh, rabbits are as clean as either their environment or their owner allows them to be. Rabbits do prefer to be clean, so Fangs is as clean as he is holy. Okay, there we go. We have our theological answer. In the cult of Fangs, rabbits are clean animals. So, so their Mile High Club was Mount Horeb, probably. I feel like you're daring me to write the Gospel of Fangs. Pointy be thy teeth, carrots be with you, nom nom. I think you've come up with the slogan right there, at least. I use this. I love it when we illustrate stuff. Like atheists will do this. Like skeptics been doing the Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe forever, but it illustrates so many things so quickly, like how you can create a deity, like just out of your imagination. And Fangs has come forth from our imagination, and he's getting worshipers, so therefore he's coming into existence. Okay, I could get real paganish about it. There's some like theological beliefs about multiple gods that a god actually exists if enough people believe in it, and worship it, and it gains power because people worship it. So if that theory holds true, that we have just created a deity out of whole cloth and given Fangs power simply because we reverence Fangs and we worship him. If that theory is true, and now that just illustrates the ridiculousness of the theory all the time. But it's like I love it. I love it. The fact that we've gone down this rabbit hole, quite literally. So the prohibition is there because their enemies ate certain things. For example, they ate pork in the Northern Kingdom. Yes, they did. Rimmer makes a valid point there. I think there's a lot of that where the enemy eats this or does this, so we're going to do the opposite kind of thing. We're going to distinguish from ourselves. So all because of a typo. True, Earl, all because of a typo. Oh, oh man. What is the logic and reasoning for calling things clean and unclean? I've always just accepted those labels, and I was never able to give a reason why. And that's the real problem that we're trying to deal with here, because when you look at clean and unclean animals, the claim has always been that we're now learning things about pigs that's unhealthy and stuff like that, and other animals are unclean, but um, it doesn't wash. I mean, God could have made all animals clean just with thorough cooking. So it just there seems to be like a political social thing, I think. Like the Israelites were trying to distinguish themselves uh, from other nations. And so what they ate became part of that distinguishing. So it's like, truly, I get it. I used to wrestle with that when I was a Christian all the time. Like, why in the hell is this clean and why is this unclean? Like some of the animals they list as unclean, it's like best thing you could eat, you know, but they wouldn't do it. So I'm working on this rimmer. Can the Temple of Fangs get tax free status? Why not? I mean, if we create enough theology and doctrine and create a doctrinal statement, I could make it into an official religion easy, and then we could get tax exempt status under that. So, I mean, if you're gonna make shit up, you might as well get all the benefits for making shit up. So, good grief, that sounds like a plot of small gods. Yes, Martin, it is. Yes, most theists aren't happy till they believe what they believe. They treat you as a project, not as a person. Yes, this is the problem with religion. I've had people tell me before, but religion does good things. I said, but the one thing that it does that's really bad is it dehumanizes people that don't believe what that is there. So, but yes, uh, it it causes you to be something to them instead of somebody. And religion does that also well because it's like if you don't believe what that person believes, you're going to end up with um, them treating you like, oh, you're not a right person. So, uh, you're not a person anymore. You are the problem. It's why we were talking about how theists treat atheists, and it's like because I don't believe any nonsense other than all hail fangs, because I made them up. It's like somehow that means I'm the ultimate project. Okay, like it's not just that I don't believe what they believe; it's I don't believe anything, and so I've taken a further step, and then they treat me even worse, or they treat me like a problem. It's why theists come here and preach. Like they'll get in and we tell them no preaching, and they'll keep preaching because they think it's somehow going to. It's I become their project, and I've seen tons of people come here and make me their project. So, hey, Kyle, good to see you. I'm running through my list as fast as I can, but you guys type faster than I do, and there's more of you. So, unclean doesn't watch. I saw what you did there. Yes. Oh, yes. Earl, you should feel a new project coming on because I am down for coming up with a theology of fangs. I will literally sit there this weekend, probably coming up with the whole mythology and everything of fangs and what his purpose is in life and his immortal life. And I'm so down to do this just as a creative project. I can absolutely, as somebody who did theology, illustrate how absurd theology is just by making shit up. So I want that to be understood. Project Tutu and the Hooded Fang. You love to be objectified like that, Martin? Okay, fair enough. Lola Fieldman says, "Yes, so true. I became a project, somebody to be fixed and changed, and I tried to fix and change others. Yes, um, so, but yes, I don't know. I get it because I've gone from having projects that people that I wanted to get saved, and now I am the project, and now if I can relate anything to theists, it's like I now know what it feels to be truly objectified simply because I changed teams. So it's like now I'm no longer a person, I'm a something. Azo showed me a sent me a video of a guy I like let into the live stream a couple months ago, and he's like, he's called me unregenerate pastor and an internet troll and all these things, because now I'm no longer a person to him. His tribalism, because of his religion, doesn't allow me to be a human being anymore. Okay, so he has to. I'm unregenerate, which means I'm going to hell. It's a polite way of saying you're going to hell. And it's like, okay, fine, all right, whatever. Oh yes, code name Dark Hopper. All right, that works. I like the code name, by the way. So there's that. I'm trying. I'm trying to pick up the pace, Fred. I am. Someone claimed today that my unbelief is a religion, that I am an anti-theist. Yes. Um, the big thing in apologetics is to make the claim that atheism is a religion. The problem is it doesn't fit any technical definition of religion that I know of, and so they're making that up. And I tell them that now you're just making that up. So and the other thing is, okay, so if I'm another religion, does that make me better now that I'm religious like you? Okay, if you're gonna sit there and downplay religion, doesn't that kind of bite you in the ass? Yeah, yeah, it's like it doesn't come back. Are we going to find secrets hidden in a deep rabbit hole? Probably. Oh man, see, there's so many. I'm already picking up the prophetic aspect of Fangs already. Like all former rabbit references in any movie and culture have been the forerunner prophecies of Fangs. So the Playboy Bunny, the carrots in Zootopia, every rabbit reference that has been made from Watership Down to everything is all forerunner prophecies to Fangs. So it's I can already see this, okay, and the rabbit hole goes deeper. Lewis Carroll's rabbit, with the gold watch. Like there's so many things I can draw from to form this theology from all the forerunner prophecies of Fangs. But Fangs is the ultimate culmination in all those prophecies. So some of them were misguided, of course, and others were well on the way. So there's that. Yes, where the hell is hell? I've been asking that for a while. Yes, there are dogmatic atheists. I try to avoid them, but that's me. Thanks, Earl. 5 gifted membership. Who got those? Henry Mars, Tom Schlott, RCA Randy. Good to see you, man. Tris Corey and Larry McLeland. Give your thanks to Earl for gifting the memberships. So that's my idea of a fun Saturday night. Okay, all right. And let's see, Fred, the damage done to human society by theistic dogma is massive, but it's so hard for religions to see that. They think they're doing right. Yes. I think that's it's been my cry since I started this channel, is that everybody thinks religion is doing well. I mean, I have family members who think religion does good, and it's like, I think religious people acting in their own goodness do good, but it's not because of their religion. It's just because they're good human beings. And that you're giving religion credit for something that human beings do. And when you point that out to them, it gets a little bit different. Don't go chasing rabbits. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because with Fangs, I don't know. You just okay. It's dark. It's dark in the rabbit. I just finished writing the book called Embracing Darkness, Coyote. Really, Coyote? Okay. I like the title because are you like going against Piercing the Darkness by what's his name, Peretti? Um, so there's that. Yeah, you can be an atheist without being an anti-theist. Martin points that out. You can just not believe and you don't really care. There's a lot of atheists like that just don't believe in stuff, and so Fred saying, are you suggesting, this is to Lisa, that there are rabbit holes in Fang's theology? No way. No, Fang's theology is airtight. It's the only uncontradictory theology there is. See, I can't even say that with a straight face. I can't do it. Because theology has so many holes, and no matter what you do it about it, it's like anybody who's ever written a book, okay, and then get accused of a plot hole, you know what I'm talking about. Because it's like, I don't know how you write a work of fiction without a plot hole, because it's going to be something that people are going to point out doesn't make sense to them. And it's going to be legit. So it's like, I don't know what to do with it. So I try to point this out that, fiction tends to have holes in it, and we tolerate them because we're there for a good story. So it's veggie season. Veggies are back on the menu. Okay, very good, Martin. Yes, the White Rabbit song is also a precursor prophecy to Fangs. I'll figure out how later. So we'll figure it out. I just want to know that all rabbit references are all precursor prophecies to Fangs. Okay, that's just the way it works. Don't question things. When it comes to Fangs, don't question anything. Yes, Frank Peretti. Yes, Piercing the Darkness. I remember when that was so popular. Oh, my Lord. And everybody thought that that's the way demons and angels really worked. And it went through the Pentecostal church like wildfire. And I was like, oh, my God. Oh, so there's that. Magicians pulling rabbits out of their hats do it in worship to Fangs, of course. That's a very obvious conclusion, Wolf. Anything done with rabbits is kind of worship to rabbits. So, and Fangs. Yes, the Aztecs, I do believe, had a worship of rabbits. So they were worshiping Fangs before we did. It just proves that this is a long line of worship and that Fangs as a deity has existed forever. So Christian nationalism, yes, something I remark on every once in a while. Triple E, I'm sorry, your brother is a Christian nationalist. Do I have any experience with him? Yes, I've had several dealings with him over the years. Before Trump, they were just annoying. Now they're scary because they want to impose a lot of Christian morality, because Christianity is the only morality that matters. And we got to impose Christian morality on other people. And I don't know, one of my deconversion things is I just don't want to impose my morality on anybody else. I'm still trying to figure it out. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I've had experience with them. The reason people think they're nuts is like they think by imposing things on others, that's a good thing. And somehow, how does liberty and freedom and pursuit of your own happiness survive if somebody else is imposing their Christianity on you using political force? Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, yes, this is the thing with plot holes, that no matter what you write with fiction, there's something there that people are going to yell about. I have yet to find a fiction book where I haven't gone, well, how the hell did that work out? Yeah, it's like, but we like a good story, so we'll overlook plot holes if it's a good story. So, say, despite being listed in the Bible as one of the impure men the Israelites are forbidden to eat, is nevertheless interpreted to be a symbol for the resurrected Christ. Oh, you're referring to Easter. Yeah, I'm doing an Easter broadcast on Saturday. We're going to have a little fun with it. Somebody asked me if I had a video picked out. I said, I'll just wait. There'll be something. Every theist channel will do proof of the resurrection something, and I'll have a dealer's choice to pick one or two or, whatever. Um, so there's that aspect to what I'm doing. But yes, the symbols for Easter are very interesting because the whole spring chicks, the rabbits, the flowers, all that is fertility cult stuff. And then you throw in, Jesus and the resurrection. And like all holidays, there seems to be this mishmash of different religions and different cultures, and we just accept it. So, but I mean, the rabbit is a fertility symbol for sure. Breeding like rabbits is, a universal thing. So, yes, we're going to have to make Easter our holy day. Um, this is a holy day to celebrate fangs, and other religions have corrupted it. So, Easter is definitely our holiday with all the rabbit symbology. So, there's that. Uh, that could be true. I'm not sure. He's the culmination of prophecies. He doesn't need any more prophetic stuff. So, but yes, he's a culmination. He would be, if he was a prophet, the only prophet in the United States, except maybe Joseph Smith. So, I mean, so there's that. And L. Ron Hubbard, as some other people have pointed out, has also claimed to be a prophet for a certain religion. So, yeah, there's a few of them. Uh, yes, Christian nationalism is do as I say, not as I do. They want to impose Christian morality, but I don't really see that they live it themselves. Like, as one of the axioms of the Bible is supposedly, as much as possible, live in peace with all men. They don't do that. So, so yeah, he had the gold plates, but he needed to prophetically interpret them. Joseph Smith did. So I always love that one because there's a hat in that one too. I just laugh every time I hear the origin story of Mormonism. It's just funny. So, I killed her. It's a great story. The real history is woven throughout the book. I reread it recently and was surprised that it didn't suck. Yeah, because that's the point I'm trying to make, Earl. I don't know of a work of fiction that doesn't have a plot hole or something wrong with it, even if it's historical fiction. It's just human beings are suckers for a good story, and that's why religion persists. I mean, in certain respects, some of parts of the Christian story are a good story, but that's just it. They're just a story, and you can do anything with them. So, you eat peeps? Oh man. See, I don't know. I every time I even look at a peep, my A1C goes up. So, and last night I had to like zone completely the Easter section at the Walmart I work at, knowing full well that the next day it was going to be completely trashed. So, but there, so there's that. Oh, let's see. Earl says, I have a white rabbit tattoo. My first one, I drew it myself. Really? So you were being called by fangs at an early age. I can see this, Earl. This is why you have become the artist prophet of fangs. So there's that. So well, there's that. Oh, I don't know if David Koresh qualifies as a prophet in the Americas. I'm not sure. Um, if he wasn't a very good one. So, I mean, I suppose you could also say Jones as well, but he kind of led his people into a prophetic death. So, I Killed Earl is being nominated for the seer already, Martin. Is that what you're doing? She is the seer. She's the one that sees the visions of fangs. Okay, I can buy that. I'll be the theologian. She can be the seer. We'll make it up. Yeah, Charles Manson, I think, qualifies. But what you are all doing to me is just showing how easy it is to be a prophet. You just claim some nonsense and wait. So, JC. Yeah, I suppose. Okay, we'll grant it. The Branch Davidians were a small group. I'll give them that. Do you qualify as wolf, the anti-rabbit, Michael? I don't know. I think wolves can embrace fangs because fangs has kind of gone over to their side. It's the canine, fangs thing there. So yes, I remember David Koresh started as a Seventh-day Adventist, Anne Marie. It was painfully obvious where he got some of his bad stuff. There we go. I killed Earl. At 18, he called me into his warren, and I became his devoted acolyte. All hail fangs. Here we go. So there's there's that. So and the rabbit tattoo. It's all been signs for you, Earl. You have been called by fangs at an early age. So. Oh, that's right. He was writing prophecy, and I'm sure it was good stuff. See you later, Triple E. I understand the necessity of dealing with your dad, so there's that. Let's see. Lila says, I remember having friends who were Hebrew roots and are extremely against celebrating Easter. Yes, it seems like the only people that don't have Easter symbolatry are the Jews. Like there may be some others, maybe Islam has a problem with it too, but it's like it's a real interesting mishmash of Christian and pagan symbolatry, the fertility of spring mixed with the resurrection of Jesus. So there's that. So oh, I know you're not, Rimmer, but it's like America has had its share of weird religious weirdness. Like if you delve into some of Mormon doctrine, it's like they believe that they were the last religion, true Christianity on earth, and that they had found the promised land and all that stuff. The whole manifest destiny and Mormonism fit like hand in glove. Like they ate that stuff. Oh, he's not a nice bunny, Fred. Fangs has never claimed to be a nice. He literally sucks the religion out of vegetables, and sometimes that requires eating the vegetables because there's no way to save that vegetable. So, all right. Hey, Dave. Good to see you. We're up to normal things here, Dave. We just made up a religion over the last couple streams, so Fangs the bunny has gone from being just a bunny to we now realize that he's the true deity. Other than maybe Lisa the rainbow giraffe, we'll find a way to integrate the two theologies, but it's going to be that. Oh my goodness. Are they generally open to adapting holidays? Because I know that Christianity was really good at that. Like that's how the Catholics evangelized for years, was just integrating into the society and using symbols from that society. Like that's why the Celtic cross is like a combination of the sun god that they worshipped and the Christian cross. So it's like Christianity has always been good at taking the symbols of things around it. I was just wondering if Islam was the same. But Judaism doesn't seem to do that. So I don't know. You don't see a lot of Jewish symbols except at, Hanukkah. So thanks, Messenger Reveals. Yes, there will now be a hat reveal on Saturday. If all goes as planned, because the hat is in transit, it's going to be a wild one too. I'm doing something very special for Easter on Saturday, so it's a very special Easter themed sort of kind of hat. So it's kind of ridiculous actually. So we will have the reveal, but I'm probably going to ask you to pay for it. So if you want to see it earlier in the stream, so there's that. So. See, Michael says, coming from basically a secular, partly atheist family, Easter was about the bunny and finding eggs and sweets in the backyard and garden. And see, and that's the thing. And that's the holdover stuff from paganism. Like it's the fertility symbols and the, because the egg is a fertility symbol, a symbol of beginnings. The whole fun and revelry of it. Spring is also that time. Like it leads up to May Day, where vows were taken and renewed. I've always loved the pagan idea of marriage better, where you just renew your vows every year. So, and then if you don't want to, you're just out of the marriage at that point. So I don't know if, we'll have to figure that out, Martin, whether Fangs uses enough lube. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously a fertility god as well, being a rabbit. So they bring the chocolate in. Well, chocolate bunnies are a, this is actually our holiday, Easter. I'm claiming that all the other religions have interfered and stolen the holiday of Fangs. So, so this is his holiday. I can neither confirm nor deny the rumors that the hat reveal has bunny ears on this one. It's in, like I said, it's in transit and it's supposed to be here on time, but you know how that goes. If not, I'll reserve it for a week later, but we'll see. And I have another hat that hasn't been revealed yet either, so I'll have a couple. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have like 2 or 3 waiting in the wings. So, hey. Anarchist. Hi, Anarchist. I see. See you, man. Good to see you. Welcome. Hello, fellow bouncy cult member. Okay. Yes, bouncy cult. We have created a bouncy cult here. Saying hello from Austria. I'm not sure at this point. I'm pretty sure they have kangaroos in Austria too. Yeah, I can make it up. Hey, you're welcome here. I mean, there's cranky elder gods here, and we've created a cult around that we can believe in around a rabbit, so we're good. That ain't chocolate. Are you saying this chocolate bunnies aren't chocolate? It'll be hilarious. Yes. The idea is to have fun this Saturday. So I haven't picked a video because I know that every apologist channel is going to throw out a video about the resurrection. So I'm going to look for the one that I'm going to have the most fun with. So that'll be it. But yes, I cannot confirm nor deny rumors about bunny ears at this point. I'm keeping myself in plausible deniability. We'll just put it that way. Hey, Alex. Oh. Give the bunny boxing gloves and it's an Austrian kangaroo. Interesting. I'm picturing this in my mind. So yes, I get your point, Michael. I really do. If we didn't have moral obligations, I don't think society would work very well. It's almost like morality is inherent to humanity and we need it to survive. So what those obligations are, I guess we'd figure that out. So, it seems that way. I felt that way when I first got involved in this 6 years ago, but it's the YouTube algorithm. Okay, there's a bunch of us. It's like now are we as numerous as the theist channels and pastor channels and apologist channels? I don't think so. I think we're still outnumbered. But once you start diving down this rabbit hole, to keep the joke going, you end up finding more and more of it. It's how search algorithms work. They help you find what you're searching for. It's why I have another YouTube account that's my personal account so I can search other things. Because on this one, all I really get is atheist and theist stuff. So you're not making a resurrection video, Dave? You're just going to have chocolate? Okay. See, but there is some discussion about the chocolate rabbits, and I agree. Seeing I've had good chocolate before, yeah, some of the stuff that's sold over the counter should not be calling it as chocolate. So my moral obligation is supporting atheist bros, etc. on Saturday. Okay, that's your moral obligation, Martin. Okay, I can buy that one. If you came up with that one yourself. What did you say moral obligations are? What justification can you use to arrive at moral obligations if you don't have a purpose to do so? Why would I not have a purpose to do so, to have morality? Morality benefits my own survival and the survival of others that I love. I'm sorry, the nation of your question that I don't have a purpose to do so assumes a bunch. Like, I think human beings need morality to even function. Okay, if you're dealing with the interaction between two human beings, there's a moral question. So the idea that there is no purpose to do so, that's just a false idea to me. Okay, there's survival, there's thriving, there's good human interaction. Those are all fine purposes to have good moral interactions. So finding out what benefits all of us the most is a pretty good moral obligation to me. So I just don't. The assumption that if I'm an atheist, I don't have a purpose to have morality or moral obligations. That's just a false assumption. So, I'm sorry. That's just your bad understanding of what morality is. Okay, morality automatically involves some sort of obligation in and of itself. And it's just part of human beings. So I just don't see your question doesn't make any sense because you're assuming that because I'm an atheist, I don't have a purpose to have morality. I have a lot of purposes to have morality, and more than you, maybe. Can refrain from doing immoral acts, but then also not do any moral acts. Um, that's a sticky question, but I do know immoral acts. Do I have an obligation to perform moral acts? I say if you want humanity to thrive and survive, yeah, doing good things to others actually benefits that society more than doing nothing. So let's see. Fred weighs in. Moral obligation arises from the morality we learn. Each human gains moral concepts from life experience, and any obligation is self-inflicted. I can see what you're saying, but I also think that doing morally good things helps us. So we're all self-motivated. So religious people can say they're not, but they are. Jesus got enough airtime, Dave? Okay, fair enough. Hi, Triple E. Welcome back. I can justify moral good actions because they lead to better survival and thriving. Just because that answer doesn't suit you doesn't mean I don't have one. Okay. I justify these things because I want to survive and thrive in a world, and I live in a social species and a society. So doing good moral actions leads to those things becoming easier and better. I fail to see why this isn't a good enough motivation. Okay, why do you need some higher motivation to do good things for others? It seems like, you know, the theist has a bigger problem with that than I do. I do it because it's beneficial to me and other people. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's a perfectly good justification. Just because you don't accept that justification doesn't mean it's not a good one. Okay, so Yes, there are a few other channels that are full of themselves. So yes. Fellows, to see, what if I can do an act that is moral, but I refrain to do so? I see a child fall, but I refuse to help the child because I can't be bothered. Would I have an obligation to do that act? I would say yes, because it's beneficial for you and the child. Okay, because like it or not, we also have this psychology thing going, and um, when we do good for others, it actually benefits our psychology. So why wouldn't you? I mean, why do you need a higher justification to help out another human being? That seems weird to me. I don't need that. Okay. I don't need that. So, yeah, we're not monoliths, as Michael points out. Like there's different moral systems around the world, but I don't know. You could probably get to some universal foundation principles if you really looked at it. Uh, I don't think that that's necessarily true. I believe the way to resolve the is ought problem is to invoke a purpose which has an ought built in with the is. I don't think so. First of all, I'm not sure that the ought is ought problem, what morality is and what it ought to be, is necessarily as big a problem as people think it is. Okay, we can look at society the way it is, measure the effects, negative and positive, and say, okay, if we want more positive effects, we should maybe push it this way or move it that way. It's what makes, in my mind, subjective morality superior because it can change with new understandings. But, you know, divine command, where you have this purpose supposedly built into it, is it really built into it? I would question that. It depends on the drugs and what it's for, fellow. I mean, if it's medicinal, we do drugs. I mean, drugs are a neutral thing, what it's used for. But no, you're leaping from a simple observation that doing good for others causes psychological benefit. So drugs don't necessarily cause psychological benefit all the time. So yeah, I don't know if it's preaching, Martin, but there's a lot of assumptions between fellows. Things like he's got the ought problem is like a big problem. I don't see it as a big problem anymore because I actually think the fact that there's a disconnect between what we do and what we ought to do is what keeps moral discussions going. Okay, and so I don't see it as a problem. I see it as the way it is. Okay, and I don't think, I smell pre-supper too because he's trying to sneak something in about, you got to have God to have a purpose. And I don't think when you deconvert, you realize your purpose can be much more mundane and still have significance. I think the real problem I've always had with theists and their need for belief in God and morality is, oh, so your ego needs this ultimate purpose in order to stroke itself, and so that you'll be moral. And I just don't find that I need a big brother watching me to be moral, to be a real moral statement. I don't need a big brother to watch me for me to be moral. And do I have obligations to my fellow human beings? Sure, because they have obligations to me. It's a mutual thing. Okay, I think the whole ought is problem oversimplifies it. So there's that. So I was listening to talk about a monk who went into extremes with how to live a good moral life. I found that he could have done a lot of those things without being one. Yes, he could definitely have done a lot of good moral things. So, I don't do others with any expectation they will reciprocate. Most people are selfish assholes. I do what I believe to be right, and my rigid sense of justice gets me into trouble a lot. Yes, and that's the thing. I think what people don't realize is that morality is both an individual and a societal thing. Like I try to act honorably because as a general rule. Being honorable leads to better things than being dishonorable. Okay. Being somebody who follows after trying to figure out what truth is, me and Bertrand Russell had the same problem. How can anything good come out of believing a lie? It's like I mean, you have to show to me how believing a lie leads to something good, or believing an untruth leads to something good. Um, and on the list goes. Pragmatism, as much as people can get after it, it seems to be what morality is based on most of the time. It's like we come up with solutions that are beneficial to all parties, and then we consider that moral. So I don't know. Probably the holy mute. Do we have a holy mute now? Am I gonna have to designate certain of my mods as actually holy prophets that do the holy mute for fangs? I don't know. I'll have to think. Morality is personally unique to each individual, as developed over life experience. That a particular moral content may be universal does not make it objective, just popular. And that's what I'm saying. I don't, because I can drop people off into different moral systems around the world, and a lot of your morality is shaped individually by your culture. So it's a both and. Your personal experience is going to be based on how it interacts with culture. So yes. Do we have a fangs mute? I don't know. I don't. Yeah, there's probably an evolution. I started reading a book about how morality developed evolutionarily, and I can see it. I can see with what I read up to that point. I'm like, okay, I see what he's driving at. Like as we evolved, uh, you know, the situation around us changed, and so morality changes based on the situation, and that became part of our evolution. Like us being moral beings is part of our evolutionary makeup. So there's that. So I Martin, I get you. The smug moralizing. It's like the problem I've always had with the moral argument is there's a hubris behind it. Like I got my morality from God, so therefore my morality is better than yours. And I get tired of that nonsense. So yeah, yeah. Society influences personal morality, Fred. I think you're onto that. But I think there's a good point to say that it's partially involved and evolved in us. Over what gets passed on becomes more moral in a sense, I suppose. So there's that. But yeah, but ultimately at the end of the day, the only person's morality that I'm ultimately in charge of is my own. So yeah, so yes, and if we had a moral God that didn't make mistakes in his creation, we wouldn't need a hell. Hell is kind of an admission. The doctrine of hell is kind of an admission of failure. And whenever I point that out to atheists, they get a little angry about me. To me, hell is the ultimate admission that God failed. So, he's failed at something. Yeah. He's not, at the very least, he's not persuasive enough to persuade people to his point of view, that he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to talk down to our level to persuade us of stuff. So, yes, it's my morality at the end of the day. I think though that I work to make my morality benefit others as well as myself, and then that has benefits for me. Not always, as Earl wisely pointed out, some people are just assholes, and no matter what you do, they're I think there's a difference between self-interest and selfishness. You can be self-interested to the point of becoming selfish, but watching out for yourself and having good self-esteem is also a positive. So there's that. All right, what time is? Oh, I have got to go, folks. But we did get enough super chats so that it will be a hat reveal. What it will be on Saturday will greatly depend if I get on the real cool one on time. It's supposed to be here Friday or early Saturday, so we'll see. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for stopping by. Appreciate all of you. This was a good one for the Deconversion Hangout. Had a little fun with Fangs, and we also, talked about some pretty serious issues. So, um, always appreciate it when a stream goes that way. So thank you everybody for stopping by, but I kind of have to run and get ready for work, and mostly I need something to eat because I usually don't eat right after I wake up because my stomach's not ready for it. But it is now, and I'm getting hungry. So I will see you all Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It will be a fun Easter celebration. I haven't picked out the video we're going to react to because I know apologists will post a bunch about the proof of the resurrection, and I'm going to pick the one that I'm going to have the most fun with. So for me, and hopefully I'll join you on that. So the like button does feel fluffy, so make sure you give it a squeeze. It's very consensual. The like button is very, if you need something with consent, the like button is definitely that. So, and thanks, Fred. Appreciate the very interesting discovery. I'm glad that people like the place. I'm working to have a likable stream area where people can talk, and I love the community we're starting to develop here. And if the cult of Fangs becomes a part of that, we will gladly embrace Fangs as our deity and move along. So, but thank you all very, very much. Appreciate all of you, all that you donated, but we did reach. I only needed 4 super chats, and I know the goal says 5, but we reached it. So there will be a hat reveal on Saturday, and hopefully it'll be a good one. So I'm just waiting to see if it comes in transit. So thank you very much. Appreciate all of you, and as always, live your best life. You only get one go around, and then it's over. So you want to take all your time, money, and opportunities and spend them on yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do, and don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you all next time.